Stutter, my brother, what's happening?
Hey, fantasy, it's session. We talking touchdowns, receptions, interceptions. They got a band and kicker, we need that correction. Swap them out, we flexing. How many of y'all you collect? We trying to get that winning record. Fantasy, it's session.
You.
What up, though?
And we back. Week 8.
What it is, hope it is what it should be. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy in Session, the podcast. Today is October the 27th, and the boys are back in town. As always, powered by Real Deal Fantasy HQ. And wherever that you're listening to this at or viewing this at, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, leave a review, leave a comment. Tell us how you feel about the content. How y'all doing, fellas?
Doing pretty good, man. We made it through bye week hell. You know, that was a crazy week last week. But
how did you do?
I think overall it was pretty good. I think I went like 9-5, I want to say. So
Motherfucker got 15 lead.
hey, in one league, bro, I talked about it already, but I had freaking Dak and Herbert on a bye, and I still won that week. I wasn't even expecting to win that shit, bro. So
yeah, I won some shit. I was
pretty happy.
I won most leagues, but the one league I needed to win in, I didn't get it, bro.
Yeah.
Say less. I need to win and say less.
Yeah, I already knew which one you were talking about.
Right, that's the one league I needed to win in, but I still got a chance. But
you can't take either, bro, because you gave away your first.
Yeah,
right.
I started to sell off some of my assets. I'm not going too crazy. It's not a fire sale.
I saw that shit.
It's not a fire sale, but I said, shit, I got to get a first round pick because that was crazy.
It's just
a little something. I'm doing a little something. Because I still think if Tyrone Taylor comes back, right? He's coming back. He's healthy. He plays this week. And if I win this week against Rye, which is a winnable matchup, I feel like, I'm in the game. 3-5 or whatever it might be.
If you could sneak into the playoffs, I will say this: if you sneak into the playoffs, you do have a dangerous team, bro.
It's scary
because you're starting to hear rumblings about Deshaun Watson being able to play this year.
No, if Deshaun Watson come back, my team is going to bonkers.
And then Trey Lance takes over. If Lance takes over, bro, like you do have a nice squad, bro. So
it's just
you got to make the playoffs. So it's gonna be.
I got to make the playoffs. I got to make the playoffs. Hey, so what record will you give up on you? I think it's more of a feeling, like you said, like if your team catches a couple breaks, like all right, I'm still in it. Dynasty wise, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You start.
When do you start trading? When do you start trading off your assets?
When I'm mathematically eliminated. Mathematically, like if there's a 1% chance I can make the playoffs, I feel like I have a good enough team that if I do make the playoffs, I can compete. Then I'm still gonna compete until I'm mathematically out. That's the only way I would sell.
That's facts. Listen to Carlos. I sold my team last year, like week 14, like right before the playoffs, not noticing. I made
that you can make the playoffs, and you sold your second quarterback for
I sold
Joe
Brady
Burrow,
for Burrow.
For Burrow, he was injured last year,
and I ain't had no quarterback, and I ended up making the playoffs. Having that.
Is that the reason why you're not trying to trade me, Austin Eckler?
Yes, because I'm not even close to mathematically out yet, bro. And then I got Tyrone Taylor coming in that league too. So
yeah. Tyrone Taylor, I think, is going to be a game changer for a lot of people. He was looking good before he went out, so I'm happy to see him coming back. Davis Mills experiment was a horrible disaster. So, and let's talk about let's keep it in Houston. Just before we went on, they traded Mark Ingram back to the Saints.
He back home, bro. That shit's pretty dope.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like it's not gonna be like when right before he left, where they were both like beasting out there, like RB1s. I think they were giving Kamara a little bit too much work. Like I don't think he's ever seen like over 20 carries until this year, and he's done it like multiple times already. So I just think they're trying to keep him fresh. Yeah, but I think he'll be like Latavius Murray light. Remember when Latavius Murray was out there? He had like weeks that you can play him, but I don't think Ingram is going to be too usable. But
didn't we have like a nice Latavius Murray bet at one point? Some gross Latavius Murray bet.
Did we?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I forgot what it was, but it was something about
gross.
Latavius Murray. I know it was gross. But you talked.
That had been a couple years ago, like 2.
Yeah, it was a couple years ago.
Okay.
I forgot what I said.
Yeah, ain't no news there with that.
A lot of people will start it. We just picked him up. You know what I'm saying? He just had, you know what I'm saying, not kill you weeks as a running back 3.
Yeah, I like it, bro. Like,
what about DJ now? Number 2 in targets on the team.
Are you talking David Johnson? David Johnson?
Yeah,
that's he should see more work now too. He should see more work. I know Philip Lindsay was getting a lot of run out there, so I guess it'll be a split between those two. But DJ was the pass catching back, so I think he definitely gets a boost with Ingram leaving. And he's probably out there on waiver wires too, so I would pick him up.
Yeah. Any running backs at this point are pickup worthy.
Exactly.
What else do y'all feel about? Y'all want to talk about anything other news, or y'all just want to get into the episode?
Let's get it.
Oh man, let's give the people
moment of silence first. Yeah.
Moment of silence first. A second moment of silence out there. Rest in peace, George Floyd, and all the others that lost their lives to police brutality. All right, and we back.
Let's go.
Let's give a motherfucking 3-second moment of praise to the Braves. 1-0 World Series.
Let's go, Bravos. I'm a huge baseball fan, so I'm excited. I'm super excited about this.
He is stupid.
What, bro? What you talking about?
Carlos could care less.
What do you mean, bro?
I ain't heard nobody.
Have you watched the whole game?
Yeah, I did. I actually did.
Oh, that's crazy.
Hey, that leadoff homer. I was just walking around.
They made some crucial errors down the stretch, bro. Where
Davey Swanson, but that's what happened when that bat working out.
When that double, bro, the dude tried to hit that double, bro, and bounce off the wall. He threw him out a second. He got stuck in the dirt. That shit was funny as hell. That shit was hilarious.
Hey, baseball is fun, bro. If like you invested in it, bro, it's fun. But let's get into what we have.
Playoff baseball is
playoff baseball is much different.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And if the teams is hitting though, like you don't want to see no 1-1 game. But let's get into what the people are here for, man. They don't want to hear no more baseball talk. Go Braves though. Week 8 begins Thursday night. Football. The Green Bay Packers without Devonta Adams, 6.5 point underdogs to the Arizona Cardinals with an over under of 50. I don't know if that line changed since Devonta Adams is out. You got another line?
Nah, I had 51, so it went down.
Okay. How do you feel about the Devonta Adams Green Bay Packers? And I think I've seen something like Alan Lazard is out too.
Exactly, and he was going to be a nice play because he was starting to come on the last couple of weeks, but I believe he isn't vaccinated, so he had like a close contact situation where he has missed this week too. So down there, top 2 pass catchers. That leaves Randall Cobb, Tunyon as like the main 2 guys out there. Tunyon, I like. Just out of necessity, man. Like he hasn't been doing anything this year, but the fact that he's going to be one of the only guys out there catching passes, and we have a little sample size last year of when Devonta Adams missed. He missed weeks 3 and 4, and he averaged 6 receptions, 74 yards, 22 half PPR points per game, and had 4 touchdowns in those 2 games. And then like he's 11th in routes run among tight ends. So I just feel like he should stay busy out there. Now the Cardinals are stingy against tight ends, so this is where it gets tricky. They allow the second fewest points to the position, but like I said, the volume is what's important here. And he's run 45% of his routes out of the slot. So I think his matchup would have been Simmons out there, the speedy linebacker. So he's not going to see him majority of the time unless he, follows him out to the slot. But I do think Tyon is like a back end tight end 1 this week that you can feel confident rolling out there. How y'all feel about that? Because he hasn't done anything.
I have to go with.
If I got him on my team, I might still start him in the flex. I feel like he's gonna get a certain number of targets and produce more numbers than a flex player. Damn near, especially if you get a touchdown. So. Yeah, exactly. I like
Aaron Rodgers as well. Like we know he ain't got his top two guys out there, but he does have a history of producing without Devontae Adams out there. I believe it's like a 7-game sample size. I don't have the exact numbers, but he actually has a better points per game without Devontae Adams, which is super weird than when he's out there. So, and then he also averaged 27 points per game in those 2 weeks last year that Devontae Adams missed. So I am fine starting him. It's a prime time Thursday night matchup, man, and we usually don't see Aaron Rodgers have a bad game on prime time, man. He wants to perform out there. So of course, it's not of course, but I do think you can feel confident starting him. Aaron Jones as well. You know, he's going to be arguably the wide receiver one out there, man. He's going to get so many targets out there, and it's a high over under. So of course, you're starting him. Fringe player, Randall Cobb, another volume play. He hasn't shown as much, but like I said, it's the volume, bro. He should be relevant in this potential shootout. He had one usable week, and that was in week 4. He scored 2 touchdowns, finished as the wide receiver 5. I know touchdowns are fickle, but I'm keep saying it. It has to come from somewhere, bro. It's 50-point over under, and they're only 6-point underdogs right now. So I don't think they're expecting it to be a super blowout. So they're expecting Green Bay to score points. So he's going to be one of the top guys out there. So fringe player, I wouldn't force him out there. I wouldn't start him over your normal, guys that you would start. But if you're in a pinch and you need like a flex player, I feel good with Randall Cobb.
Yeah, I like Randall Cobb as a flex player.
Exactly. On to the other side of the ball, got the Cardinals. Obvious starts: Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins. Chase Edmonds is a start for me. Averaging 14 opportunities per game, 81 scrimmage yards, and he actually out-carried James Conner last week. He had 15 to his 10, so that was a good thing to see. He was kind of banged up the previous 2 weeks, so it was good to see him be more involved through the tackles, so that was good to see. So he's already giving you a solid floor and is every week flex, but he's also one of the biggest regression candidates this season. According to PFF, his expected touchdowns are 3, and he has 0. So as long as that usage keeps up, I think that he will see a touchdown sooner than later. Unless I don't think it's room in this universe for 2 Jacoby Myers. So only one could be the biggest be a biggest outlier.
That's his cousin though. That's his cousin.
It might be. That wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, I was trying to get word about Edmonds, but he had a 70-30 timeshare the backfield, so I like to see that, like you said, and just feel more comfortable playing him now. My bad.
And he's averaging 10 points per game, so it's not like he's been hurting you. Like he's been pretty steady at 10 points, but if he gets those touchdowns, then he's gonna be looking like a great value where you got him in drafts. James Conner, I also like him as a flex play. He's averaging 13.5 PPR points per game this year. For the last 5 games, and he's the RB13 in that span. A lot of that production is due to touchdowns, but he's the clear goal line back, and the Cardinals are one of the best offenses in the league, so he's going to have those opportunities pretty much every week. Tied for 6 in rushes, also from inside the 5 with 7 attempts, and he's averaging 13 carries a game, so it's not like it's a Jordan Howard situation where he's only coming in on the goal line. I do think they're using him between the tackles. He's splitting with Evans, of course, on the ground, but he's getting enough work. They're running a lot of plays out there. So on the game, again, 50 projected point total. So I think he'll get enough volume to be relevant. He'll have a couple opportunities to punch it in. So I like James Conner. And I got a couple more. Zack Ertz. He caught 3 of his 5 targets for 66 yards and a touchdown in his first game as a Cardinal. Usage was about the same as Max Williams. That's what he was averaging, around that 5 target range. And I just think that they have so many weapons out there, man. He's always going to benefit from this soft coverage every week. He was the focal point in Philly, and he's going to an Arizona team where he's getting about the same volume, but he's seeing softer coverage. So I like him this week. He'll be going against Chris Barnes, who has a PFF grade of 54 and allowing a 90% catch rate. Not touching Rondale Moore. He's still the 4th guy out there in terms of like routes and snaps played. So not touching him, but I do like either Christian Kirk or AJ Green. AJ Green for more of a floor play, Christian Kirk for more of an upside play. But their stats are pretty much identical. They're like right next to each other in targets, yards, ADOT, red zone targets, end zone targets is like literally the same. Points per game, Kirk is 11.6, Green is 10.1. So I'm cool with both of those guys as a flex play this week as well. With they're getting the volume and it's a nice over under. So like both of those guys.
Me too.
That's it.
I agree with everything you said, bro.
I can't
We got
dig
a
it.
couple questions before we get to the next game. Shout out to Brad Montgomery. Make sure you like and subscribe, bro. We on the way to 200, almost 200 subscribers. Mixon and Bowden for JT.
Yeah,
more of a lateral trade. Honestly, I guess
it is, but I think JT is getting more receiving work. So Mixon is up and down in his receiving work. 1 week, they used them, and then last week they came back and they really didn't use them in the passing game. So they're in the same tier, but I would prefer JT over Mixon. So.
Yeah, I think JT might just be a little higher. They starting to split. I don't know what's going on. He's splitting work in Cincinnati, Mixon split work with Ryan and stuff like that. So I wouldn't mind that trade. Bolton, you don't know which week he's going to get the carry, if it's going to be the other running back, So, yeah, man, I like it. I think you get a for sure stud and don't have to worry about his usage from week to week. And Bowman is probably on his bench.
Yeah,
JT is he's
not getting
going crazy,
yet,
bro.
Right.
He is though. He's just not getting. He's not getting
as many as Mixon had. Then we'll be looking at it differently.
But he scored like the last 4 weeks. But the only thing with JT is he's not scoring from the goal line, bro. But he's like top. I want to say he's the number one in carries from inside the 5, I believe. So, and the fact that he hasn't scored yet, but he still has a touchdown in
listen to this
4 games.
The smoke show was good. Yeah, that's my boy. The last couple games with JT yards per carry, 6.4, 3.5, 10.3, and then 5.9. Yeah, go get that guy, bro. Especially for that. Go get that guy.
Shout out Boss Man Fat. Cole Beasley, Tyler Boyd, or Melvin Gordon at the flex.
Cole Beasley. I'm not touching Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, Tyler Boyd.
Bills play Miami. Ooh, they might get up a bit. And for upside,
I like Cole Beasley.
If you need upside, I go Beasley. And if you need a safe floor, Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
Did you say if you need upside, you go with Beasley?
I feel like he'll get a touchdown, get some ERs.
Maybe.
Knox is out, so I'm trying to see what the pass is gonna,
So they play a lot of
passes an opportunity got to flow somewhere. So I'm trying to see. You've seen a lot of them flew to Diggs this week, and then Beasley also got his similar share. So I feel like Beasley may be back until Knox return, but yeah,
I like Melvin Gordon.
I like Melvin Gordon.
I mean, they're splitting right down the middle still, and I mean, I like that guaranteed, production that we're going to see from Melvin Gordon. It's possible Beasley can get more volume with Knox out, but Gabriel Davis can also get that volume too. He hasn't really been involved, so
and Emmanuel Sanders didn't have his normal targets, but I'll get to that one more game.
Yeah, it can go a lot of ways with that situation. I think it's more certain with Melvin Gordon, so I will go with him.
Appreciate you, boss man.
The Cardinals are at the Dirty Birds, Atlanta Falcons, 3-point favorite.
Not the Cardinals. They're playing twice this year.
I mean, Carolina.
Oh no,
Carolina.
It's not a bird. That's another bird.
over under 46 for this game. We got Matt Ryan. You know what I'm saying? Looking real Matt Ryan-ish. He's looking like a QB1 again. Was that like last 2 weeks in a row? 2-3 weeks in a row, QB1. How do you feel?
He had like 16 points last week. Was that QB1? Was that a QB1 last week? He had 16, I believe, right?
I thought he had 20-something. He had 21 points last week. I could be
wrong. You did?
Yeah.
You're not looking at 6-point touchdown?
Oh, maybe I'm looking at 6-point touchdowns.
I had him and I lost, and I was very mad, but
well, shit, he looked good. We winning. Anyway, man, how you feel about the Falcons matchup against Carolina? That defense. I don't know if Stephon Gilmore is playing this week or not. I'm not sure. I know he can come off the IR, but I don't know if they designate him to come off or not. But how do you feel about the Falcons matchup against the
Matt Ryan? He's been on fire the past 3 weeks, attempting at least 40 passes for 280 plus yards and at least 2 TDs. in each, and only one INT during that span. So he's playing great right now, man. So I feel like
why you didn't back me up then? You just let me sit here and Carlos tell me he wasn't going for it.
Bro,
I said last week. I just said last week.
Oh, okay. My bad. You should have seen your boy Gay the other day. He like, Matt Ryan, the top 5 quarterback. I was like,
he is.
All right. My bad. Carolina defense has struggled the past few weeks. 2 quarterbacks, but still have a front 7 that is much better than the Falcons O-line. So that's the only thing I worry about. But nevertheless, you still roll Matt Ryan out there. He has weapons that are now showing up. He's a mid to back end quarterback too against a team allowing at least 16 points to quarterbacks per game. Mike Davis and Cordell Patterson. Davis has been nothing but a flex play with a low ceiling and will continue being that through the rest of the season. Patterson is a must start. I said it again.
He limped off the field too. I'm not sure. I haven't seen.
I ain't heard much. So I guess he's scrutineed. Patterson is a must start in all formats. His snap percentage is going up each week, and he's seen at least 14 carries and 5 targets in the last 2 games. And he's one of the best playmakers on the team for the Falcons. So I feel confident rolling him up. I mean, I feel confident rolling him out there. All right, Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage. Calvin Ridley time is coming, man. Matt has been on fire and Ridley has seen at least 10 targets in the last 4 games. Start him. He's going to catch on eventually. Cage came back and made a splash like last week, catching 4 of his 6 targets for 64 yards and a touchdown. This week he faces the Panthers defense that's allowing the 19th most points per game to wide receivers. But with Matt throwing over 40 times a game, you can consider Gage a flex play. Kyle Pitts has seen at least 9 targets in the past 3 games and averaging 110 yards per game in that span. He's a much start each week, man. And we got a quick little question piggybacking on Kyle Pitts right there, man. How high do you think Pitts can finish by the end of the season? He can finish.
I don't know.
He can finish number 2, yeah, because once Waller come back, Waller should start seeing those targets. So I just feel like he's not gonna see more targets. Who's in 1
though? Because it might be a little switching in the lineups now. Like it's not. I don't think it's a guarantee. Shit, Mark Andrews
until he doesn't finish as 1. I'm still gonna say. For sure.
But Mark Andrews looking like. So what's your top 3 tight end finishes this year?
I mean, if I had to rank them now, it would be Kelsey, Waller, Andrews, and then Pitts. But the question is, how high do you think he can finish?
No, I'm talking about at the end of the season. I'm talking about your end of the season. What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
As high as I think he can get is 3. Yeah, because Kelsey and Waller, I don't think he can probably beat out Andrews maybe, but Kelsey and Waller, yeah. I'm going as high as 3.
I think his ceiling is 2. But if I had to say what I think he will actually finish at, I think I would still go 4 right now. But he's at a historic pace right now, man. Because if you remember, he started slow. Like not super slow, but slow from what the hype that was around him. And now he has the most yards through the first 6 games for a rookie tight end, beating Mike Dick's record, bro. Like. That's how far back you had to go to break that record, Mike Dicker, bro. So that just lets you know how special he is, man. And it's.
I remember a couple Falcons fans. I mean, not none of y'all, but some people I know just Kyle Pitts. What we get him for? You're a top 4 pick and all that. Like, bro, it's week 4.
Drafted a tight end at 4, like, bro.
Right now he going off. They're like, oh, you seen the one hand catch? You seen the sideline? You seen
that one handed catch that did it for me.
I'm telling you, bro, that dude is a monster, bro.
Right. Shout out to Kyle Pitts. We appreciate you as Falcons fans. All right, on to the other side of the ball, man. Sam Darnold started out on fire, but the fire is put out. In the past 3 weeks, he has thrown 5 INTs and only 2 touchdowns and less than 210 yards in each game. Even with the Falcons allowing the 2nd most fantasy points to quarterbacks, I cannot trust Darnold. I don't want you to put him out there. He rolls up a dud. So he's a desperate quarterback to play, but he's still a double hell no. It's ugly, bro. It's a great matchup, but I just don't feel confident in him or what's going on with this offense, and it's hurting everybody. On Chuba, Chuba Herbert. Since CMC went out, Chuba's seen at least 11 carries and around 4 targets per game, but only 1 TD. With the offense struggling and Herbert not scoring, he's better suited as a flex player on a regular basis. Even this week against the Falcons, who are allowing the 4th most points to running backs, he's still a flex play. This offense has played very, very poorly in the last 3 weeks. So if you got Herbert, he's fine as flex play, even a running back 2 play, but just lower expectations because this offense has not looked good. And if they're not, converting third downs, there's no upside for the running back. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. Moore is the only startable wide receiver in this offense. He has seen at least 10 targets in each game but 2, and he's had at least 70 yards in each game but 1. He's a must start even with Sam Darnold struggling. The Falcons are allowing the 5th most points to wide receivers, but Robbie Anderson is still a sit. He has seen 38 targets in the last 4 games and only caught 13 of those targets for a total of 101 yards. Sit him, man. They're just not on the same page. They didn't play together in New York, apparently. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's pretty weird, bro.
That's so gross, bro. How do you get that much volume, bro? And you're not doing anything, bro. So nasty.
The only thing I think that I would say, I like Herbert. I think he's just not finding the end zone like CMC would, and so that's what we're missing about Herbert.
Yeah, if he get
good
that,
Lord, when is he coming back?
Who knows? Yeah, man. That's the only downfall on Herbert is the touchdown department. He's getting everything else but that. He get that. He in running back 2 discussions. Maybe even top at least 12, running back 12 maybe.
The star running back needs more time to fully recover from the hamstring. He is eligible to return week 9 against the Patriots. Oh, that is gross.
Long as he don't play we only see him 1 week. We only see him 1 time this year. Thank you.
Yep, I'll take it.
I'm talking about for my fantasy team. Fuck that. That's it? You done?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, man. Let's get on to the next game. We got the Miami Dolphins at the 13. Every time I see these big points, I'd be like, I want some of that. That 13.5 point favorite at Buffalo with an over-under of 49.5 points. Tua threw the ball 40 times in back-to-back game now with 40 attempts, missing his second 300-yard game by just 9 yards. So he's put up around QB1 numbers, something like that, like bottom QB1, QB2 numbers against a couple soft defenses. But he gets the Bills this week, who are allowing the fewest points to the quarterback, fewest fantasy points to the quarterback position. So sit him. They really allow almost the fewest fantasy points to all of the positions. So it's not really a lot of them I want to start. So he's a sit for me. Myles Gaskin, he's a fringe play, especially with Malcolm Brown going out with the quad injury. I don't think he's expected to play. Last week he saw an increase in his workload, 19 touches, the most he's seen all year. But that was against the Falcons. The Bills are allowing the the second fewest fantasy points on the ground to running backs, and they're not allowing many catches a game. So you can start him just based off bye weeks, but he's a flexible pay. If you got other options, I will go other options. How y'all feel about Myles Gaskin? I know he just kind of did okay last week after everybody's shit.
I don't mind Myles Gaskin. He's if Malcolm Brown is out, he's gonna get the usage, and he's averaging around in a couple games, he's averaging close to 5 yards a carry. Tua's back, and they're scoring, so I don't mind getting Myles Gaskin in your starting lineups.
Let's give a couple names just to see where we're at with them. You got Myles Gaskin or Kenneth Gainwell?
Kenneth Gainwell has the Detroit. I like Kenneth Gainwell.
Safe. I feel like Gaskins. If I need a lot of points, I go Gainwell. We just don't know. Boston Scott still got a lot of carries, so we just hoping Gainwell got a lot of receptions.
He got 7 to Kenneth's 5, but okay. All right, so Myles Gaskin and Boston Scott. Boston Scott had 9 opportunities last week in relief, with after Emmanuel Sanders left. So Myles Gaskin or Boston Scott?
Myles Gaskin.
Myles Gaskin.
Yeah, We hope in Philly run the football. We
there.
don't know what's going to go in Philly, so I'm just
one more, Myles Gaskin or James Conner.
Probably James Conner. I want to attach myself to that high power offense because the Bills are nasty, bro. They could come out there and put up all 49 of the points themselves.
Gotcha. Yeah, damn.
Go Gaskins.
I think I would go Gaskin there too, just because Malcolm Brown's out, man. Like I feel like he has to be involved, bro. So
you seen it last week.
Tough matchup. Connor, you need more of a touchdown with him, and I feel like Myles Gaskin, he has a little bit of a safer floor, so I would go him. It's close though. All those players are close though.
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle, 8 targets to follow up his 13 target week, so he's looking consistent. He now has at least 6 targets in 5 out of his 6 games. He also will be matched up against that Bills secondary, who's giving up the fewest fantasy points to wide receivers, though. Tehran Johnson is expected to be in coverage on him in the slot. He's graded a 75 by PFF and only giving up a 48% catch rate when targeted. So, I mean, you can roll him out there just because he's getting that consistent volume. He looks like the wide receiver one out there. That could be due to Devonta Parker and homeboy being out, Will Fuller. But if Devonta Parker he practiced today, but I can't trust him coming right back off an injury. So I think Jalen Waddle has earned the right to be in your lineup, man. He's had 2 good weeks. And he didn't score a touchdown last week, I don't think. But he still produced. You know what I'm saying? He still had double-digit points.
Yeah, they need to start targeting him more downfield, too. Like, they're using him, like, as that intermediate, route runner. And he can do that, but he can also get down the field too. So
he didn't have anybody. They don't have anybody to throw to. You know what I'm saying? So it was like maybe that's all.
They got Waddle.
I'm talking about Waddle, but they didn't have no other wide receivers. Everybody else was hurt. Like Fuller been hurt and Devonta Parker been hurt. So maybe that's why he's been hyper targeted. So we'll see what Devonta Parker expected to be back. What he does. So I'm sitting Devonta Parker. I do like Jalen Waddle. I also like Mike Gesicki, even if it is a hard matchup, and he's top 5 targets for tight ends. He doesn't have a lot of that touchdown deodorant on him, but volume is key here, and I expect him to get a decent amount of volume, expecting in the game they expect to be trailing. On the other side of the ball, we got the Great White Hope. Of course, you're starting him. Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. Zach Moss is now taking over the 50-50 split, if you will. Still around 50-50. Some days it's a little bit over. Some days it's a little bit under. Neither of them had a good day on Monday. That could be due to just the way the game was. Wasn't it like pouring down that game? Or was that another game I'm thinking of?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Colts game was pouring raining on Monday.
But either way, they had to throw most of the game because they were behind. They lost that. That was the first game they lost. So that could be a reason why they both didn't get the volume that we were expecting last week. But it was good to see them get targets, 9 collectively to the running back position when they were down. They didn't amount to anything much, but they were still good just to see them getting the volume. The Bills will have the lead, so I do expect them to be running the ball a little bit more. The Dolphins are giving up the 6th most fantasy points to the running back flexible this week. Stephon Diggs now with double-digit targets in the last 3-4 games. Of course, you start him. Emmanuel Sanders, the wide receiver, 28 on the year. I think he has solid floor and good upside, so of course you start him also. Cole Beasley, who Javar spoke about a little bit earlier, he bounced back with a 9-target week after 2 back-to-back 2-target weeks. But that could be because those were Dawson Knox weeks where he decided to go off and what's the word I'm looking for? Emerge, if you will, pause. So the matchup against Nick Needham, who gave up that big catch to Russell Gage in the big game to Russell Gage last week, is the matchup in the slot. For Cole Beasley, he's allowed a 74% catch rate. So if you are in a bad position, I think the volume can be there in a high-scoring matchup. Was it 49.5? So Dawson Knox still out with the hand surgery. I'm cool with starting Cole Beasley. You could do worse. It's a couple of bye weeks. There's a couple of bye weeks this week too. Like Marquise Hollywood Brown is out.
Yeah, it's just to Oakland and yeah, I don't mind the flex.
Not Oakland, Las Vegas.
Yeah, Las Vegas. My bad. Shout out to Oakland. Look at this.
Yeah, I don't mind him in the flex either.
Yeah, that's about it. I don't mind him. He's an okay flex play.
3.5 point favorite at San Francisco at the Chicago Bears with an over under 39.5. Expect to be another low scoring game. Pretty gross. No Trey Lance again. There's not many options out here to start.
Soon
come.
Hopefully.
If Jim G start, if he don't lose, then there's not no reason to take him out. They don't care about my fantasy
he is
team.
losing. They won their first
I thought they won last
games
week.
and then no, they lost. They got their ass beat by the Colts, bro.
Yeah, they did.
They won their first.
It was raining though. Yeah, it was
lost.
that was a raining game. Yeah.
It is, but they also lost the previous 3 games before that. They're 2-4 now. Started 2-0, and their only 2 wins was against the Lions and the Eagles, 2 teams that's struggling pretty bad right now. So.
Get it. And he's
also only a matter of time for Trey Lance.
I'll get to that later.
Yeah. I think it's only a matter of time before Trey Lance takes over. But until then, we just go with what we got. So obvious start is Deebo Samuel. You're starting him. He's beasting this year. As long as he stays healthy, he's a beast. Elijah Mitchell is a start for me with Sermon literally useless. He got no snaps, no carries, no nothing last week. I think Mitchell is a middling RB2 this week. He had an 86% rush share, which was good for 18 carries. Final stat line was 107 yards and a touchdown, which basically all came in like the first half of the game. Kind of went away from the run during the second half. Chicago is middle of the road against running backs. They're allowing the 18th most points. But like I said last week when I covered the 49ers, we know what they want to do, and they do it well. They're one of the most efficient rushing teams in the league. Like Colts were a tough matchup for running backs too, and he still made them look silly out there. Only red flag I would say for Elijah Mitchell is the fact that he is pretty irrelevant on third downs. They're using JaMychal Hasty in that role. So with no receiving work, I think his ceiling is going to be capped in that RB2 range. Sits Jimmy G. I thought he was a decent QB2 last week. Bro, mutual Mike, bro. I thought he was a decent QB2 last week, but I was completely wrong. He only competed 16 of his 27 attempts for 181 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. He's now ranked as the 30th QB in passing grade according to PFF, 6 in turnover-worthy plays. And then you add the fact that, of course, this game has a 39.5 point over-under, and it's no way you can possibly trust him in 1 QB leagues, and he's still a shaky option in Superflex leagues. Everybody else, not really touching on San Fran. On to the Chicago side, Khalil Herbert is a start for me, man. He took the job from Damien Williams, averaging 22.5 opportunities, 123 scrimmage yards, and 17 points per game. Damien Williams missed week 6, and he pretty much just stole it from him. Which even more impressive is he rushed for 100 yards last week against the Bucs, which they've been shutting down running backs, like good running backs, for years now. So that was very impressive to see.
With the quarterback Justin Fields with 1,000 turnovers, he still got 100 yards.
Poor Fields. Wow. Yeah. So he's also 10th in yards after contact per attempt. Has the number 1 PFF run grade over the last 2 weeks and tied for first in missed tackles force. So, man, he's been balling this year so far in his opportunity. And that's why we always say, man, that's the best position to have on your bench is these handcuff running backs because all they need is the opportunity, bro. So he's a top 20 play for me, I feel like, this week, even against a tough San Francisco rush defense because we know they're not going to be trying to pass the ball on them with Justin Fields struggling like that. And of course, I'm sitting Damien Williams. He lost work to Herbert last week, and this game doesn't have a high enough point total to where I feel like we could trust Williams. So sitting him, also sitting Justin Fields, possibly dropping him if you still have him. He had 32 attempts last week, which were the most that he's attempted this year. And that's what I wanted to see. I want him to see him attempt more passes because when you attempt more passes, you have more of a possibility of taking off and running. Like if you're only throwing 19 times, you're probably not going to run that much. But he threw it 32 times, man, and he still didn't do shit. So, yeah, he finished with 22 completions, 184 yards, no touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. So the fact that all that was against Tampa Bay, who is a funnel defense, and they were down 4 cornerbacks. So it's like, bro, was the game for him to get right, and he still didn't do it. So Can't trust Justin Fields anymore. Same with Allen Robinson and Mooney. Robinson has yet to finish above wide receiver 45 this year. Mooney has given us a couple usable weeks, but he just isn't consistent enough to really be trusted either. Mooney does seem to have the better connection with Fields, so I guess if I had to start one of those guys, it would, I would prefer him, but I'm not confident in either of them. And honestly, I never thought I would be saying this, but I want to see Dalton back out there, bro. I really want to see Andy Dalton back out there.
I said that.
I want to see him back out there. Allen Robinson had 11 targets in week 1 with Andy Dalton, so we know that at least he'll target Allen Robinson if he goes back out there. I don't think it's going to happen because, it's
too far
now. They're already losing. They're losing, man, and it's like if you bench him now, you're just going to ruin the confidence.
Kill him.
So exactly. So
he's out here. So hopefully the next coach comes in and do better.
But yeah,
I'm reserving my opinion on Justin Fields until he get a new coach.
That's what I'm saying too. Yeah, desperation. Darnell Mooney, Allen Robinson, you can't do it. So that's how I feel about the Bears. The Bears.
Commit caught a couple passes the last 2 weeks, I think. Yeah, he ain't do too much. He got like 6 total points in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah,
he getting a little usage. I guess. In Dynasty.
And his ceiling is 6 points.
Right, that's ugly.
What up, Brandon?
Good, my boy. What's good?
We're chilling. Appreciate you for coming through. Make sure I don't know if you subscribed or not already, but if you're not, make sure you subscribe, leave a like. We're on the way to 200. That's it with your games?
Yep.
On to the next game. We got Pittsburgh at the 3.5 point favorite Cleveland Browns with an over under of 42.5. This is another gross game. Last week it was some real gross games, especially like that second half of the football season.
Yeah, bro. You could tell it was a lot of teams on bye, bro, because
it was gross.
Those were like some superstars on bye.
What?
I feel like this bye apocalypse was way worse than any other one. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I feel like in years past, it was we had weeks like this where it was a lot of teams, but I don't feel like it was
studs.
Like, it was a lot of the high-powered offenses and the teams with multiple fantasy relevant options, bro. Like it was a lot.
Bro, I'm gonna keep it all the way real, not to cut you off, but I hope Derrick Henry never goes on bye. Like he needs to just go to another team.
He doesn't need a bye. He doesn't need a bye.
It's week 13, his bye, bro. Shout out to all the fantasy owners that's riding Derrick Henry to everywhere. To the gas station, to the stores, to work. Everywhere I go, I drive with Derrick Henry because he is a beast.
At times,
he's a better quarterback than Fields too.
And he can pass.
Looking at some of his NFL film, look like his high school film. Like you go watch his high school film, it's still like, oh, get off me, little boy. I'm going. He's still doing the same thing. Like, bro,
I love him.
Can't do nothing with him, bro.
That's crazy.
I'm so glad that he's on my team. I don't know why I haven't been drafting him before. Like I feel so dumb for not ever drafting him. I got so much Derrick Henry this year. It's crazy.
People are waiting for him to fall off, bro. Like he defies all analytics, bro. Like
literally in like get that many 2-3 leagues,
and then still come back that third year and perform like he's performing. So it's crazy.
Literally in like 2-3 leagues, he's literally the reason why I'm winning.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's he's not from this planet, bro. Like, yeah, he's an alien.
Right.
It's on to you.
You got any Derrick Henry, Javar?
Hell no, I ain't had. Not ever since I ain't had not one, bro. I've been missing out on the Derrick.
You don't even understand. You don't even understand the joy that you know that any given day, and more days than not, he's gonna get like 3 touchdowns.
Well, I mean, I feel, but I got Derrick. I mean, I got the next best thing, I guess you could say. I got Dalvin Cook. So when Dalvin Cook play, he'll walk in 20. He'll walk in 20.
I mean, it's just like
if you take away Derrick Henry's 41-point game or 44-point game, he would still be the RB1. Like, how they always say, bro, if you take out that big game where he got he would be he's still RB1.
Well,
he's smoking on your top 5.
Speaking of Derrick Henry, Najee Harris is only second in the league behind Derrick King Henry in total touches. So, he's a must start against the Browns this week. This defense is only allowing around 18 points per game to running backs. So, you definitely start Najee Harris. I just had to segue into that. I skipped Big Ben, but
we don't need you to like. You didn't. We already did it for you. You didn't have to do it. Man. You fucked it up. We already gave you your props. You was just supposed to keep going. Now you fucked up the flow.
But anyway, let's get over Big Ben. Big Ben doesn't need to be mentioned in any format, so you sitting that guy. Deontay Johnson has seen at least 10 targets in all games except one, average 75 yards per game. He's a must start each week, especially with Juju out. Last week, Claypool had one of his worst weeks of the season. He should bounce back this week and see the volume in an offense with no Juju. So I like Claypool starting around a wide receiver 3 area against the Browns. The tight end Pat, he had his best week to date last week against the Seahawks. He caught all 7 of his targets for 58 yards. He's more of a dynasty watch. You're not really start him or worry about that guy. On the other side of the football, Barkley is practicing in some format or he's doing something. So you say he will play. I wrote on my notes and I had Case Keenum in here, and I had, of course, you wasn't starring Case Keenum, but even if he plays, he doesn't have a nice matchup against the Steelers, and he's a back end quarterback 2 this week against the Steelers. If he plays, even with the injury, I really don't trust Baker. The offense haven't really looked good, and he's injured his shoulder. So, yeah, man, pivot somewhere if you can. If you don't, he may get you like 14 points.
It's his non-throwing shoulder, though, so.
I don't care. He's a quarterback. He get hit almost every other play.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't think he plays, though.
What about Saquon? You said Saquon is playing for sure?
How are we talking about Saquon?
Right. What happened?
I could have sworn he said Saquon.
No, and he's not playing for sure.
I don't know why I thought he said Saquon.
If you want to know about Saquon, he's on the sideline doing limited drills or whatever, or working out his ankles. So, but still, we're talking about the Browns and Steelers, my boy. So on to the running back, Nick Chubb.
Any good news, bro? Any good news?
Nick Chubb, he's going to play. And we all seen what Nick Chubb can do without Kareem Hunt. He's going to get some receiving work. He's a must start every week. As far as Deandre Johnson, he looked explosive and seasoned in this spot start last week. But with Chubb back, he's a must-see how his usage is going to go. So I will hold him for this week just to see if he's going to get that. Well, he wasn't getting the receiving work, so I don't know, just to see what his role will be. On to the wide receiver. Landry caught 5 of his 8 targets for 37 yards last week, and OBJ caught 2 of his 6 targets for 23 yards last week. Man, this it's ugly right now. This is only person I would trust is Landry with Baker because they have more of a connection, but still it's a low flex floor with Landry. OBJ I do not trust. The only wide receiver I would throw out there is Landry, and I still feel shaky about him. He's a desperate play to me. So that's about it. Start Nick Chubb, Deontay Johnson, Claypool, and Najee Harris.
I like it. Pay attention to practice reports for Landry because remember he left early last week.
I think he came back in though. He left and then came back.
Did he?
After the knee injury or the other, they say injured another knee. He came back in.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same knee as the other knee. The other knee.
It wasn't the same knee as the other knee.
But he missed practice today. He missed practice. Didn't practice because of the knee injury he suffered last Thursday. It's unrelated to this. Yeah, to the other knee. Hey, Mike Davis. A little news about Mike Davis. What's his name?
Mike Davis.
Arthur Smith. No, Arthur Smith came out and said Mike Davis is expected to get a little bit more work. You know what I mean? So don't be scared of Mike Davis. You know, that's what they all see. That's what they all say.
Yeah, I was a guy touting Mike Davis in the beginning of the year, but I mean,
I was never
somebody like Cordell Patterson comes in and produces week in and week out, bro. You have to adjust, bro. And
you're right.
Even if he gets more work, man, I just can't take Cordell Patterson off the field too much, bro. So,
what you willing? Are you trading for Cordell Patterson, dynasty wise?
depends.
If it's a losing team, if I don't have to pay too much and I can get him from a losing team home, I think he got a 2-year window.
He was the highest paid free agent for the Falcons.
Yeah, so I think he got like at least a 2-3 year window. I didn't even know that.
Interesting. We didn't spend a lot of money, but we gave him some money.
So yeah,
I offered and say less. I was willing to give him up, but I said I wanted Zeke Elliott, and the dude never hit me back. So I guess I shot a little too high. I said, "Hey, you want this motherfucker, boy? Hey, ball, shit."
On to the next game. We got.
Hey, he said the same thing. On to the next.
3.5 point favorite of Philadelphia Eagles at the Detroit Lions over under 48.5. Jalen Hurts, another QB1 week last week. He might be one of the grossest QB2s in fantasy quarterback. Like the fact that he's the QB2 on the year, and he is literally like a week or two away from losing his job, and Minshew Mania taking over Philadelphia. They already said it.
They say it's a possibility. Which we all knew was a possibility if you traded for him. Like, you don't have to tell us that. We know it's a possibility. What are you gonna see? What are you gonna see with Gardner Minshew, bro? What is that gonna accomplish? You're not
fucking insanity.
I see the beard, man.
I don't see it.
Mustache.
It is possible. It is possible. You might want to have a backup plan, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, that would be so gross. That would probably be one of the weirdest things that ever happened in fantasy. The QB2 on the year getting benched.
Exactly. That's the most fantasy shit ever, bro. Because
oh my
Blake
god,
Bortles
that's
was
literally I don't give a
shit,
fuck
bro.
about your fantasy
Remember
team.
Blake Bortles was almost a league winner that one year, bro, and he could have got benched at any point, bro, because he was not a good quarterback.
Thank God for Blake Bortles. So you can't bench him until he gets benched. That's all I gotta say about Jalen Hurts. Even though just don't watch the game, it just looks gross. He's just running the ball enough times.
Single week, bro. I'm like, this is gonna be the week that he doesn't finish as a QB1, bro. He does it.
He has at least 40
week,
rushing yards, 40 rushing yards at least in every game except one this year. It's really crazy.
You gotta start.
That's 4 points off top, and he's running touchdowns too. Better fucking believe it. Kenneth Gainwell with Miles Sanders out with this. He suffered an ankle injury. I think Miles Sanders will be back before the year's over. I don't think it's the year ending. I haven't heard anything like that, but he's not playing Sunday. Gainwell had 9 touches on 13 opportunities in the relief role. We already talked about Boston Scott. What I want to talk about Gainwell is Gainwell got 8 targets. That's the most enticing thing I like about the workload. Boston Scott only had 2 targets, and Kenneth Gainwell was targeted on 24% of his routes ran. That was second on the team. So when he is on the field, they are trying to give him the ball, and he lined up in like the wide receiver position a couple of times too. The Lions are giving up the 4th most fantasy points to the running back position, so I think this is a great first start for the rookie. And the Lions are giving up like 2 touchdowns to the running back position game, 1 through the air and 1 on the ground. So I feel like you got to roll him out there. Boston Scott did see 33% of the snaps. He could have a role, and he found the end zone last week, so that covered up a lot of the stink. You know what I mean? If people had Boston Scott and they're looking just at the points. With Gainwell getting 8 targets and Boston Scott only getting 2, that's what we like to see Boston Scott at most of the years before, like getting worked out of that backfield, you know what I'm saying, targeted. But with Kenneth Gainwell demanding so many targets, I really just don't see that work being there for Boston Scott. I know a lot of people are in rough positions in the running back position, so if you want to run him out there, I think you can. He might have a safe floor. I don't know. I wouldn't run him out there. He's a sit for me.
I only play Gainwell.
I think. He had.
I know Carlos was talking about him.
7 carries to Gainwell's 5. So it seems like maybe like a 55-45 split. I mean, it's just a one game. We don't know exactly how they're going to do it.
We're talking about a team
where Gainwell gets him and in the targets. Boston Scott was the goal line back. He had 2 carries from inside the 5 to Gainwell 0. So that is something for Boston Scott. If you're thinking about rolling him out there, he has a better shot at a touchdown against Detroit defense. So I still think I would prefer Gainwell more just because receiving is more valuable than running. So I would prefer him.
Yeah, I would prefer Gainwell just because his team doesn't rush the football.
Who, Gainwell?
Yeah.
It might have been a receiving touchdown, but he didn't get a carry from it. According to PFF, he didn't get a carry from inside the 5.
It might have been a pass.
This team doesn't rush.
He has a touchdown. He has the touchdown upside, and then Gainwell just has the higher ceiling. I feel like with those targets that he's going to get.
They got a safer floor too.
Yeah, I would say that too.
Devonta Smith, after a 4-target week in week 6, he came back with 9 targets last week. Still haven't found the end zone since week 1. The volume is there. You know what I'm saying? The volume that you would want to see is there for him. He's getting at least 6 targets a game, but he's just not highly productive with them. That floor is safe. He's not going to like kill you unless Jalen Hurts just has one of them gross games. But his ceiling is just capped off. He isn't finding the end zone. With the Lions getting up to 11th most fantasy points to the wide receiver position, I think he's flexible, with just a low upside. Why are you looking at me like that?
Bro, they say he missed practice today with a headache.
Who?
Devonta Smith. I don't want him anymore. Get him off my roster, bro.
He's stupid.
You can't be missed practice with a headache, bro. What the fuck, bro?
Damn. You got concussion?
Why did he say that?
You just give him a break, bro.
Nah, let me take that back though, because it could be a migraine, bro. Those shits ain't nothing to play with. I just thought that was funny. You don't usually see headlines like that. He missed practice with a headache.
Dude, that shit just come through?
No, I wanted to look at his stat line from last week, and I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. He got the 9 targets. I think he caught 6 of them, something like that. Yeah. 5 of them, something like that. I mean, it's just
shit.
I think he's still kind of, just because it's quarterback play, he's still.
It's the quarterback play. I don't think it's him at all. I definitely think it's the quarterback play for sure.
If he had a real quarterback, he'll be having a better. I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts, but if he had a real quarterback, he'll be having a better year.
Quarterback.
Yeah. So I really don't trust him. I think you can sit him unless you just have to play him, or any of the other wide receivers. They're just not getting enough targets to trust. Dallas Goddard got 5 targets last week in his first week with Ertz out of the lineup. He didn't get that 20-25% of the target share that we were expecting. He only got 15% last week, but he did get 70 yards. He didn't find the end zone. Detroit is giving up 50 yards a game to the tight end position. So he's now every week start with him being the only tight end out there. You got to feel comfortable rolling him out. On the other side of the week, Jared Goff, we're not going to think about starting him after such a promising start. You know what I mean? It was what a way to go out, bro. Deandre Swift, the number 2 running back in half PPR leagues. You start him. He has an RB1 potential this week against the Eagles, who get up the 3rd most fantasy points in the league. Jamal Williams, he's playing around the same amount of snaps, man, 30%, only 12. He got 12 touches last week, 57 yards. He didn't find the end zone. And so like we mentioned, he only has double-digit fantasy points when he finds the end zone. So he's really touchdown dependent, but in a good matchup, I guess you can roll him out there with just the landscape of running back, how it is. Ahmad St. Brown, if you missed it, he was healthy last week. He just didn't get any targets. So I can't ever throw anybody out there that gets no targets. And that was a week where we thought he was going to get targets. It's really crazy.
Exactly. What the fuck?
Khalil Raymond saw 8 targets and over 100 yards. He's the most targeted wide receiver on the team. It's not a sexy play, but if you're thinking about playing Cole Beasley, I don't see why you can't play Khalil Raymond.
I play Raymond over Cole Beasley.
Yeah, I might actually also, because he's the wide receiver 1.
And Goff came out and said, "I love throwing to the guy. Anytime I can, I want to get the ball to him." So, hey, pick him up.
Philly's giving up the 5th fewest fantasy points to the wide receiver position. So that's mainly because they can't stop a nosebleed like in the run game. So I don't think it's just because they're like locked down through the air. So I feel safe rolling Khalil Raymond out there as a fringe start. Of course, TJ Hockenson, you're gonna roll him out there. He's still a hyper targeted tight end. The Eagles are allowing a touchdown a game to the tight end position. So hopefully he finds the end zone. He hasn't had a lot of that touchdown deodorant on him this year. So I mean, I feel comfortable starting him, of course. That's about all I got.
I like it.
What's the word? What's the next game? Is that it?
I got one more.
We got one more. On to the next game. We got the Rams. They are facing the Houston Texans. I don't have an over-under for this game if anybody got a line.
It's 14.5 point favorite Rams for 47.5 point over-under. So, yeah, it's another one of those high spread games, bro. So if you want to have if you want to do like a little underdog parlay, bro, you might win some money, bro. Who was it? The Houston, and who was the other team that was Miami? So Houston and Miami. I'm not doing it, but Gabe likes those.
Cool.
Teams getting all those points. So
no, I don't. I don't think they're gonna cover the spread though. I'm cool.
Yeah. So he could very well be back. He is practicing today. But for the Rams, before we get to Houston, obvious starts: Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp. Dude, he's so good. It's crazy, bro. He's just out here balling. So he's a must start, man. Don't even think about trading him, bro. He's in your lineup every single week. Daryl Henderson.
I was trying to give him away, bro. I couldn't even give him away. That's how bad it was.
That's so wild. That's how I felt about Derrick Henry too, though, bro. Like for the past 2 years, bro. I try to give Derrick Henry up. And Javar always comes asking, but he don't ever want to offer value for
he got some good shit. He still be trying to get his shit off with that.
I know. I
still trying to get his shit off with that second shit. Throw me a second.
Carlos asked for something I didn't have, so I just had to count up some just to see.
Hey, if you know Javar, I will throw in a third. Hey, but just throw in a third, bro. Just throw in a third too. Like, bro, no, I'm not throwing in a second.
Boy, that's my lot of third round picks, boy. He offered me something and a third for one of my players, but I said, bro, it's amazing that you still be trying to get this shit off after all these years of playing with each other, bro. You still be doing it, bro. I admire your willpower, though, bro.
Hey, maybe we might catch a flipping one day. That would be big. Like catch you slipping, like you caught me slipping with that Julio shit, motherfucker.
I ain't catch you slipping. I think you offered that.
Exactly. But we was talking about it. Yeah, probably after a heated Falcon debate. You probably got me piped up, and I was like,
give me Julio. I'll trade you Josh Allen, Julio. Let me get.
We was talking real quick.
I would never trade a wide receiver and my picks for
facts. Old wide receiver.
I traded my quarterback in the Superflex. I was like on some good shit. That day.
We talked the trade through text, but in my head, I'm sitting here thinking because when it came through, it was like, oh man, you know what? I'll give you Josh Allen 2 seconds for Julio. I was like, all right, I'm gonna.
What league was that in? That's Marathon.
Right, Marathon.
That's where you go.
Hey, I played it cool. I played right. I was like, I'm gonna reply in 4 minutes. Hey, wait the time. Reply 4 minutes. That's actually not a bad trade. Look, don't be overconfident. That's actually not a bad trade. I take it.
That's probably one of the worst shits I do. But that's why I never trade right away no more, bro. I see your message and I will never respond right away,
bro.
I will wait till I'm not doing anything.
Under the
influence. I'm not want to be. I need to be fully.
All right. So for the sake of it, Gabe at the time, Julio was still decent. He was on the decline. He was still decent. Gabe is a huge Julio fan, so I did take advantage of Gabe being a huge Julio fan. He was the first person I went to. Bro, come get Julio. Wait, I can have him. I was like, yeah.
Oh man,
you don't want him?
Fantasy, my guy.
I traded him for somebody though.
All right, my bad. Hey, that was a good story. Go ahead. I might have to clock that time. All right.
All right, man. So of course this obvious start: Stafford, Kupp, and Daryl Henderson did have a little bit of a down week last week, but he's still getting that bell cow usage. Has a 10.5% target share, so I'm not worried about Daryl Henderson. Robert Woods, I'm fine with him as a wide receiver 3. Over the last 4 weeks, he's finished at that range, the wide receiver 3 range 3 times, and he did have that blow up week where he finished as a wide receiver 1. But that was just a flash in the pan. With Kupp on fire, I don't think we're going to see that high end wide receiver 2 production that we're used to seeing from Robert Woods. But now that our expectations are adjusted, I feel like he is a solid wide receiver 3. He has a good matchup this week against Thomas, who has a PFF grade of 63, and Mitchell. He plays half of his. He runs half of his routes out of the slot and on the, I think it's one of the sides. So he'll go against Mitchell, who has a grade of 58 as well. So 2 good matchups that he'll be seeing. So I think we can expect that wide receiver 3 range. The only thing I would say to be worried about is if the game gets out of hand. But I think they're going to run their offense, especially in that first half, man. And I think he'll be fine.
I think with Tyrone Taylor playing, they could be more competitive too.
Exactly. I completely agree with that. And he's tied with Kupp with end zone targets. That's like the only thing he's tied with Kupp at this point is end zone targets with 4 apiece. So he does have as much as a chance. Well, not as much as a chance, but he does have a good chance at a touchdown every week. Tyler Higby had a season high in targets last week with 8 and turned them into 5 catches and 46 yards. Not too crazy, but he's running the 5th most routes among tight ends, 9th in targets, 2nd in red zone targets, tied for 2nd in end zone targets. So he just hasn't given us any ball weeks, but he hasn't really sucked us either, except that week 2. But his usage is still good, man. He's out there pretty much every play, and combine that with the fact that Houston is allowing the most points to tight ends, and I think you have a great option this week with Tyler Higby. So like him this week. On to the Houston side, not too much to talk about here. Brandon Cooks, we're starting. Did he have a down week last week? I want to say he did.
I think he scored like 4 points. My bad. I saw Gabe going outside to check the score and see what was going on. But yeah, Brandon said like 4 points.
Yeah, so I'm still starting him, and then we do have Tyrone Taylor.
Yeah. He still had the targets. He had
that was the week before.
I don't know what league I'm looking in, but he had 7 targets. He caught 5 of them for only 21 yards. That's what the gross part was.
Exactly. So yeah, about 4 or 5 points. But good news is Tyrone Taylor is expected to return from IR this week, so that should help out Brandon Cooks, man. More competent quarterback throwing him the rock out there.
Yes,
and I would prefer to actually wait a week to start Tyrone Taylor, but I am fine with him as a QB2 in Superflex League if you're desperate. He only played a game and a half this year, but in those games, in the first full game, he scored 22.6, and then he scored 16.5 in only a half of football that second week. And he also rushed 5 times for 55 yards and a score in that game and a half that he played. So it is good to see him running out there. He only played like 1 game last year, but he didn't run at all when he did start that 1 game for the Chargers last year. But we know him as being a rushing quarterback, so it is good to see him rushing again. And with them more than likely trailing for the majority of the game, I think they're going to need to air it out. So as long as he continues to rush, I think his floor should be safe. So QB2, I'm fine with. QB1 or 1 QB leagues, would wait until I think about starting.
It's a bad matchup to come back in, but I'm comfortable starting. I've been waiting for him to come back because this Davis.
You ain't got no choice but to start him.
This Davis Mill, Geno Smith mixture. This shit is horrible. I probably has the worst quarterback position for a team that's trying to win in QB history. Like even in my fucking even in redraft, bro. Baker. I'm starting Case Keenum. I'm in the position where I was like, bro, do I start Case Keenum or Baker, or just roll Dallas Goddard out there again as my super flex?
Who's your first QB? No, you got Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert was out last week, so I had to start Case Keenum. But if I could start, I'm thinking about just starting Justin Herbert and a position player, because either I'm gonna have to sit Michael Carter or Damien Harris. So which one would you do? Damien Harris, Michael Carter.
I'm not saying Damien Harris.
Okay, yeah, Damien Harris. I wasn't thinking about it anyway. Okay, so Michael Carter, Dallas Goddard, or whoever the Browns quarterback is. That's the position I'm in right now.
Yeah, I'll probably go Goddard, man. Goddard. It's between Goddard and Keenum, but yeah, I would probably go Goddard there.
Carter got like 9 targets or something when Mike White came in, so it should be the same type.
We didn't talk about Joe Flacco being.
He should get Joe Flacco, but he shouldn't start the first week.
He's not starting this week.
He should. Michael Carter should get peppered with a lot of targets. That's the only reason I'm kind of leaning Michael Carter over Case Keenum, because I feel like he should get at least 15 points for sure if he's getting 8 targets.
Who,
but yeah,
Carter?
Glad I ain't in that position. Yeah, he got targeted like
15 points for sure.
That's it. 15. That, if he get 9 targets and he gets 7% of the snap. 7% of the snaps.
He needs to be like top 20 running back this week, then. If he's guaranteeing 15 points.
He did have. Hey, that motherfucker did. Hey, he ain't had no bad game.
If he gets 15, then that's definitely startable over Case Keenum, because that's what he got last week was 15. So
I guess what's he got? Cincinnati this week.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see whoever has that game. We'll see if I can get convinced. Yeah, man. That's it. That's all I got. That's the end of the show.
That's all, folks.
Thursday night football. Who y'all got? Time to watch them Braves chop the fuck on. Who you got?
Cardinals are going to stay undefeated.
Facts. I
got the GOAT. I got the GOAT with no wide receivers. I got the GOAT showing why he the GOAT.
I know. He not.
I mean, I feel you, but they done took on teams that have their starting players best hit and just walk through like
sucks,
what,
man. That sucks so bad. If they had Adams and Lazard out there, man, it would be a
great game.
And it's just.
I still think with Aaron Rodgers,
I want to see them against them with his full, weaponry out there, man. So.
Squad. I mean, they probably gonna meet each other in the playoffs, though. We'll see.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my Super Bowl team though, so we'll see. Y'all Super Bowl team is looking kind of out of this shit right now, bro. I ain't gonna cap you down. The Chiefs.
I said the Bucks and KC, so one of them looking like they
going.
going.
Motherfuckers looking ass. Let's go down
the
there.
Chiefs.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Sheesh. Go Braves, man. Shout out to everybody. We'll see y'all Friday. Hold on, let me find an outro. Peace.
Fantasy. It's session. Fantasy. It's session. Fantasy.